Hello, the following video is a recording from the Artist Feedback AMA session held on September 1st in the MetaJungle Discord. This session is open to all genres of photography and is hosted by Mike Schmidt and Arwen Levinson. We want to say thank you to both of our hosts for their valuable feedback and hope you find this session helpful.
Thanks for being here, Arwen. So Arwen is really great creator as a photographer, but also a collector in the space and an educator too, right? You've done a lot of been in a lot of your Twitter spaces. You're super knowledgeable, and so we're really glad to have you here and that you taken the time out today to be here with us. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I hope I can give a lot of input. I usually focus on landscape photography, but I'm going to try my best to give input on other things as well.
Cool. I mean, all right, I'm sharing my screen so you guys can click on it now. That's cool. I have your, I'll lead the conversation on them anyway. So, there's a lot of them that aren't landscape. And so then you can just kind of chime in on how you feel about it. But I pulled up your page because I just wanted to look, I just wanted to look at some of your work and create these like really stunning and atmospheric landscape photographs. And you get like these detail, like all the way from the foreground all the way out. I'm guessing like shooting at like f11 and beyond, f16, f22. What like
Well, actually, I do focus stacking a lot as well. But
what do you do?
yeah, I mean, usually if I
Oh,
focus
stacking.
stacking,
Oh, like so like
focus stacking.
you take one picture of like the foreground and then another of like the background and then one of the sky and then you stack it so it's all detailed. Is that what you mean?
Right. I mean, it's usually it would be more than one focal point in the foreground and then just one for the background and the sky because that's far enough away that you can get it all in focus.
How do you do that? How do you what kind of camera do you use?
Well, I use a Sony and it doesn't have the autofocus stacking like the Nikon and the Canon. I wish that it did, but they haven't added that feature. So
I
I
just
just use this
switched.
program.
I just switched to Sony too. That sucks because I was like, oh, maybe I'll try this landscape thing. So then you do it in
Well,
post.
yeah, I use a program called Helicon Focus. Photoshop can do it as well, but it doesn't do as good a job. So, like some of them where I have flowers or cholla cactus or something like that, where there's a
Like
lot of
this,
different focal points,
right?
Photoshop
Hmm.
has trouble with it.
Like a shot like that, like a shot like this one.
Yeah, this one I was a little further from the flowers, so it wasn't too bad.
Mm.
The main ones are like when I get really close to a cactus. That's the hardest ones.
I've seen those ones where like the cactus is like in right in the front of the frame.
Yeah.
Uh,
It might
like
that's
or
probably only
something
there's
like
one.
this, something like this. It's not a cactus, but maybe it's not as
Yeah, this
close.
was at night, so I was a little further. Oh, go up to where you were, and on the right of that row is one that
How about
required a lot of focus stacking. Yeah.
this one? Definitely, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's that's crazy. So you're only taking one photograph though, or you're taking multiple? You're taking multiple, right?
Yeah. So, like, for the cactus, I probably took, like, 5,
On a
and
tripod?
then yes.
Okay, you have to. So like, all right, so like the first shot might be focusing on the closest cactus to you. Then like the second shot might be like the mid ground with the cactuses, and then maybe the third shot is like the mountains, and then the fourth is like the sky. Is that how it works?
Right, so probably in this one, I took, like, 4 for the cactus. So I focused on different points of the cactus because I was very close to it. And then the sky is, exposures blended, so a few for the sky at different exposures, but the mountains and the sky I can get
And
focused in one shot.
Wow. And so each shot, are you like, so what's the aperture on each shot? Like, what's the aperture number?
I still
Like
use 16 when I'm focus stacking because otherwise it's even harder for, like, if you use F11, the overlap in focus isn't enough for the programs to do a really good job.
Cool. And so sorry, I'm asking you a lot of technical questions, but like, I have questions on this stuff, and I kind of wanted to just speak to some of this stuff. But like, so why not F22 instead of 16? Is 22 not as sharp?
Right. And I find that 16 gives me enough overlap to make a really good focus stack. So if I have a tripod and I can focus stack, I'd rather use 16. If I am shooting, let's say, flowers and they're blowing in the wind and I'm not going to be able to focus stack them, then I would use 22 with a
Just
higher
gonna ask.
ISO so that I have a fast shutter speed. Yeah.
I was just going to ask that, like, if I wasn't going to focus stack, then it would be smart for me to use F22 here if I wanted the most detail. Cool.
Right. And then you
Awesome.
probably want to use the distance, and you might have a little bit of the foreground out of focus.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing all that. Your landscapes are so thick. So,
Thanks.
cool. I'm going to close that out now. I just want to give a little introduction. And so it's September 1st. So it's the beginning of a new month. Hopefully we can start off this month like on a super positive note, talk about some art, some activity in the space, and a lot of people are like stressed and angry, but hopefully maybe September will bring some new some new stuff for us to be positive about. We have We Breathe, and this is by Waleed Sahab, and it says platinum prints. Not sure exactly what platinum prints means, but let's read the description here. We Breathe is a commentary on the state of the fashion industry, exploring how models are stripped of their opinions, sexuality, and somewhat their souls, walking like zombies with blank expressions on the runway, then blooming into full glamour pose on command, only then to retire backstage to stand perfectly still and bare in plain sight for a change of hair, makeup, and wardrobe. Cue the next leap. Uh, each piece comes with a museum quality. Oh, that's platinum print. That's why. Each piece comes with a museum quality platinum print made by modern vintage photos. That's really cool. I like that artist statement a lot. It's not too long to the point where you get tired of reading it. It's engaging, and it's an interesting idea to run off of because of I guess how these models are not only treated but the expectations like that they have to live up to. So yeah, and banner looks whatever you want to call this, looks really, really great. Love the little photo you have in here. I always stress all these little things, guys. To make something look really complete, to have all of those things, and it looks like while we really hit on making this something very professional. I think that's important to collectors, just to have that, that presentation. And so, looking at these, they move, they're animated, and they're just gorgeous. So I wanted to start off with this collection because, I don't have a lot of constructive feedback on this collection. I wanted to use it as an example. Put something together that's really beautiful and really cohesive, and interestingly enough, hitting on a lot of interesting points in the modern and fashion industry. So let's open up. This was maybe one of my favorites. This We Breathe 7. It's just so, just so iconic. And the animation is just really, really perfect. And also the tones and the black and white, this window lighting, it all seems to be like really, really well done. So it looks like there was an offer made for almost an ETH by today, on September 1st. So congrats, Waleed, if you wind up accepting an offer, active offer. Not something I'm familiar with. I guess active offer is a thing that Foundation does now. But Arwen, looking at these pieces, how do you feel? Do they speak to you? Do you enjoy the artist statement?
I absolutely love them. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah. You said you absolutely
Okay.
love them.
Yes, and I'm actually not usually a fan of nude photography, but the artist's statement, the description just really gives so much more context to it. And it really, I mean, makes it come alive, I would say. It's already alive with all this animation, but just, the point that he's trying to get across is really done well. And I absolutely love it.
Really, me too. Look at the little shadows just going off in the background here too. Just so cool. And I don't know how the heads are cut off, but yeah, I mean, I believe we're looking at photography, right? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think it's photography, but it's probably just you take a few shots and then it has this animated movement. But I don't know how that does with the chopped off head, but I don't really care. It's really really cool work. Really well done. It doesn't look like there's really prices though. Maybe this is, and we have Waleed here. So if we want to unmute him, then maybe he wants to talk a little bit about it, or how come it was minted 6 days ago, but there's no prices? Maybe he's just waiting on offers.
I
Yeah,
unmuted
I'd
him.
also be interested to hear a little more about how this was created.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect. Coming in
Cool.
perfect. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for doing this review. Really appreciate that. I've been looking for people to look at my work and give me some feedback and see what people think, So I appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much constructive feedback here, right? Like we really like the artist statement. We really love the pieces. Just noticed, you minted 6 days ago. Are you just looking for offers here and not looking to put prices?
Yeah, the thing is, I've got, if you go back on my foundation, there's 3 collections of very similar work. Now, this collection is the platinum prints. There's the other collection where I did a free mint, which is the first one. So I just gave everybody that, and I think there's like 1,000 something of them.
Wow.
I just wanted to people just have it in their wallets and enjoy it. And this is the first one. It's a free mint, so go ahead and have it, all yours. And then if you go back, the next piece is out for 0.6 ETH, and that does not come with a platinum print. Now, this one you can buy it, and then you can get a print on my website if you want to. And the thing is, the prints, they work with augmented reality. So if you go to the link that I sent to you, or in the description, there's a link, or I just sent you a message on the chat here. You can go to my website and you can see the behind the scenes of the printing process. Because these are, if you don't know what platinum prints are, it's a method used discovered in 1830s, where there's no printer involved. It's chemically printed.
Yeah, that's
right?
why I was wondering how they move, how are they going to move. But I'm opening up here.
Yeah. So if you scroll down, there's a video. You only need to watch the first 20 seconds of it, and you'll see what we're talking about. There you go. So that's the print sitting in the water, and when you look at it with your phone, it moves.
Oh, is that possible? Oh, you have to look at it through a phone. It's not. This is you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You look very happy about it.
So most of my work, I'm very, very happy about it. So it's a 20-minute video of how we made the prints, because it's It's a really nice process. There's no printer involved. You put chemicals on a piece of paper and you put a negative on top of it, and then you shine light through that negative, and a print comes out, which is really, really beautiful, and it's museum quality. It lasts longer than papyrus for like thousands of years. So that's why I don't have the prices on there for that specific collection, because I need to know the collector to be able to send him the piece. So if somebody randomly puts an offer, like the person that just did put an offer there, I don't know who that is, so I can't accept it. I can't send him the piece. And this collection is not just about the animation, it's about the platinum print. And I've promised on the contract that whoever gets it gets the platinum print. And if I can't send it to you, I don't know what to do, So so I can't that offer.
Well, that's something to definitely think about. I mean, the thing about the NFT space is that, a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to give their home address. Some of the collectors have a lot of money.
Cool. And yeah, I understand that, and that's why, like, I have other pieces that don't come with prints, but like this collection specifically is about the prints. Like, the prints are so valuable. It's not a regular print. You know what I mean? Like, it's a platinum print. It's very I flew to New York to shoot this, and then I flew to Bangkok to print it.
It's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of hard work you put into it, and it's and the platinum prints are a big deal within this and a big part of this process. So then my question to you would be like, well, how do you get this information out? I mean, if I went to your Twitter, you have to tweet out about the platinum prints right now, and that a collector receives them with a video link and everything like that. So you're kind of just waiting for a collector that's interested in this whole process, which is a really great process, to kind of contact you and say, hey, I'm interested in this piece. Make you an offer, and then you can accept the offer or not accept it, and then get out that platinum print to them.
Exactly. And then in the other collection, like, I've still got maybe a good like 8 or 9 pieces that I'm working on. I'm just like slowly chipping away at them. Obviously there's a lot of editing involved. So in the We Breathe featuring Lily, this is a whole other collection that also animates, that's also augmented reality. That was my first collection. So in this collection, there's maybe 3 more pieces, and then I've got another collection that's gonna sit beside it. That's another 6 pieces of the same style that's shot on. So this one is a collaboration with Lily. She's in the space as well, and that was shot in Bali. And then I've got another collection that's shot in Thailand. That's also the same concept. So there'll be like a 4 collection set. One with platinum prints, one that's a free mint, one that's a collaboration with Lily, and one that's in Bangkok.
Oh, man.
I wonder if maybe it would make sense to put something in the description about contacting you if they're interested in making an offer on it, because maybe this person would like the platinum print, but they just don't know that they need to contact you.
True.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'll update that now. I think I can update that on Foundation.
That's a great point. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, I just want to commend you on a brilliant collection, and just seeing little pieces of that YouTube video, shows me that you're really, really involved in art, and it's obviously something that you take seriously, and that is a passion for you, and that makes you very happy. So this is like the epitome of seeing an artist that play and making really, really phenomenal stuff. So do you have any questions for us?
Generally, like, what happens after this? Like, is there some way we can connect? Is there a pool of collectors we show this to, or is it just just I've got to go do what I got to do kind of thing?
I mean, I could show it to my collector group. I could tweet about it and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know as far as what you what you have as a collector group and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like, Yeah, maybe DMing some of the more prominent collectors in the space or people who might be interested in collecting this type of work and talking about the process and how the platinum prints work might be a
Yeah.
good idea. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know
I would
it's
love. Yeah, I understand, but DMing somebody, out of the blue cold is always kind of frowned upon. So what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to ask like, somebody to make an intro. So if you know anybody that's kind of into this kind of stuff or you think would be interested, I would like really appreciate just sort of an intro into their DMs kind of thing so I can then take it from there because whenever I've tried to just say, hey, my name's this and this is what I do, it's always kind of like, ignore, bye bye kind of thing.
yeah.
So I always kind of prefer like an intro.
Yeah, I feel you. I get that too. I have had people respond. I guess if it's written in a certain kind of way, but it's more often than not ignored. So I definitely feel you on that. But yeah, I mean, we'll look to see what we can do to get this in the eyes of more people. So it's really really great.
And I'm wondering, what price range are you like hoping for, like as far as to cover your costs and the platinum print and everything like that?
Yeah, so for these, I'm looking at a 3 ETH mark, but I'm open to negotiating for like multiple pieces at a time or something. But yeah, it like in my mind, it's that 3 ETH mark, and then the ones without the print, you're looking at 0.6 for each one, and those are already listed. So like that one is already listed at 0.6, so you kind of know it's 0.6. But the print ones we're looking at are around the 3 ETH mark.
And so how would the collectors know to offer that?
I mean, we talk, right? Like before, when I had them minted into a different collection, and I had them up for 3 ETH. And when I thought about it, I'm like, well, first of all, whoever saw it at the time knows it's kind of 3 ETH. But when I thought about it and realized that, like, hey, if somebody actually buys it and I can't get in touch with them, I'm kind of screwed. If I don't know what to do with my print, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. So I took them off. So it's just like it really just about getting in touch and talking to me, really.
Yeah, I mean, with all the work you put in and all the flying and all that stuff you did, I mean, I don't think it's not reasonable to ask for that much. Although we definitely are in a soft market right now. Have you applied to Super Rare? Because I feel like that's a place where people spend a bit more than Foundation.
Yeah, I've applied twice, crickets so far. So
Me
not really
too.
getting my hopes up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you totally deserve to be on there with this level of work. So I don't understand the crickets and same thing's happening for me. So it is what it is. But
I think it's just that they're overwhelmed with applications, to be honest. They're not even able to get through all of them.
wow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm not really holding my breath about it, but it's okay. I mean, we're here. We're on Foundation. We're on Twitter. We're on AMAs on Discord, and trying to get this these eyes on this project. So I appreciate you guys and thank you. And please, Mike, whenever you've got a minute, let's chit chat on DMs.
Absolutely. My DMs will be open for you. Thanks for sharing
Thank,
today. Appreciate
thank
it.
you guys. Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. So, yeah, that was really cool. And so, next collection we'll look at is Emotions of Life and Colors by Adan. And so I'll read the artist statement. What is life? Life is all about emotions and colors. This collection will show various emotions of life. The collection of one-on-one images consists of emotions like love, anger, lust, fear, excitement, determination, happiness, loneliness, and strength. You will not only be collecting a photograph, but also collecting an emotion. As per a psychologist, there are 10 type of primary emotions, and this collection will show all the emotions of life throughout through colorful images. Genesis photograph called Circle of Life stitches all of the emotions in the photograph, which shows the 3 stages of life, child, adult, and death, hence priced differently. So let's look at Circle of Life. I like this new feature here on OpenSea where you can click this tab here and you can have them like this, because I think it looks a lot better than that. But what's the Circle of Life one? I'm not seeing the Circle of Life stitched picture that they're talking about, or are you? Maybe it's
I'm
in
looking for it. Is it the one that is Genesis photograph of with the shadows?
It is. Oh, okay, and yeah, and that one is owned by Alpha. Okay, cool. Rare Genesis photograph that stitches all the emotions of life in a single photograph, denoting the 3 stages of life. Extremely rare image that will be impossible for anyone to replicate. It's a very interesting shot. And so, yeah, I mean, so my first initial thoughts, I guess, is to have a collection that is going to have like all these different types of emotions is a hard one to be visually cohesive, right? So like if I had a collection and it was about anger, and it was just about anger, it'd be a lot easier to be cohesive, or love, right, or determination, etc. Or loneliness is one that's very popular in the space, or solitude. A collection just based in that can be, very, very visually cohesive. But so looking at the collection here, there are some really strong images here, but there are some that stand out to me that don't feel like they fit with the rest, right? So if we go from a shot like Strength, for example, which is one of the stronger shots I think in the collection for me. Really, really beautiful lit street shot, the fire here, and that's kind of exactly what it is. It's a street shot, or street or documentary, and then an image like, let's say, Lust, for instance, is a much different genre, a much different type of photograph for me. It's also has a dreamy feel to it because of the slow shutter speed. So it's shots like Lost doesn't feel like it belongs in the same collection as Fear. I think Fear works even with Strength, even with Happiness, even with Excitement, because these street shots are very consistent to your art style, right? But even Love feels a little out of place within the collection here, because the other shots feel like candid moments in documentary, and this feels like a setup sort of scene, and maybe it's not, but even so, it feels that way. And also the colors are very different from what we're seeing in the more street documentary style work. The colors are more aligned with the Lust colors. So there's a lot. Fear this is a strong shot. The baby laying out the woman's foot. It's the reflections from the rain, the colors. It's very beautiful. Arwen, do you agree with some of what I'm saying about how some of it just feels like it doesn't fit a bit, or what are your thoughts on it, on the collection?
Yeah, I totally agree. That was my first thought, actually, is especially Love really stands out as being different. And even I think the shadow shots, like even the Genesis, I feel don't go quite as well as some of the others. A collection of these shadow shots would be really cool. So yeah, I mean, I like each one individually, like you mentioned, but I do agree. I think Lust doesn't fit in as well, and also Love and maybe the shadow shots, but The rest of them, I think, go well together. Inger stands out a little differently to me. I love all the shots, but I totally agree with you about the collection could be a little more cohesive.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. We read the artist statement. Let's take a look at how descriptions and stuff were done. So they have the artist has the edition in there, name, talks about fear. This photograph depicts how. Let's read this one at least. Fear is one of the strong emotions of life which stops us from doing anything. However, if we can win over our fear, it gives us immense strength to conquer anything. The photograph depicts how a fearful child is holding on to the feet of the lady, so the child is not not stampeded by the lady in a festival called Dante. In Dante festival, a child is laid on the road, and the lady who keep fast in the name of Lord Shiva and Kali crosses I guess, over the infant in trance to bring good luck to the child. However, sometimes the babies get hurt while doing this. That's kind of sad that they get hurt. Why don't they just step over them? Oh my gosh. I could instantly connect with the moment when I saw this infant holding the feet of the lady trying to save himself by conquering all of his fears. Really powerful. Really powerful photo and description. I got the licensing in there, where it's shot in India, 2018. Properties, got the photographer's name. Should have one of one and stuff listed in here, but it's already sold. Can't do that now. This is a collection that's minted 6 months ago, and we weren't even really talking about properties there, and they had some properties here, so it's good.
Yeah, I really love the concept of it with the emotions. And so I think that is a really cool concept. And just a few of them, like we had mentioned, could be a little more cohesive.
Exactly. I totally agree. I think there's some really, really great photographs. Yeah, this is obviously a really good street photographer that captures and sees emotion and knows kind of when to when to click that shutter button. And so, very respectable collection. That's another great shot of all the rain and the little kid clapping, and yeah, brilliant. So cool. Yeah, with that, I think we give some pretty good feedback here. A lot of them are sold, right? So there's 5 owners outside the original, and it looks like lost if it was taken out. You don't have to worry about selling, and then maybe just relist some of these. I mean, they're not listed for sale anymore, so you could look for, from a collector's standpoint that you like abandon the collection, but you could just clean it up a bit, and then you can and relist some prices and talk about it on your Twitter. If you didn't have anything else to add on that, I think we can move on though, Arwen.
Yes.
All right. So the next collection is Dwindling in the Blues, and this is by Adan Dani. And so the artist statement here: life, sometimes it's a bumpy ride full of hurdles. It's a series of events with unpredictable ending. Life is the journey of struggle amid joy and gloom, success and failure, hope and despair. Throughout this journey, we walk alone, making our way out, facing the obstacles of darkness, and lighten the path with the light of faith we hold our hearts. The collection consists of 9 one-of-one unique photos that were shot in thick fog to add the element of minimalism. These photographs were shot in extreme weather conditions in Punjab, Pakistan, with the temperature touching almost 1 Celsius and almost 0 visibility. I shot these photos to get something surreal. I would also like to give credit to my brother who helped me shooting in this extreme weather. Last but not least, the collection contains 2 photos shot with mobile that are very close to my heart, and the rest of the photos were shot with a borrowed camera, because at the moment I don't own a camera. I don't know if you need to. I don't know if you need to put that information into the artist statement. Then it says, P.S. 5% of every sale will go to be used to support new artists. Yeah, I mean, outside the sort of last paragraph there, it's a really well put artist statement, and I'm excited to see the photos. One thing about the banners for people that irk me sometimes, and I know this is annoying with OpenSea, is that your banner doesn't have full resolution, and it's not it doesn't give full credit to your collection, because when we look down here, we see some really beautiful work here, priced very fairly at 0.1. You can see the resolution difference in the banner. So, I would look into what OpenSea wants for their dimensions for their banner, and it would get into Photoshop and just create, or whatever program, and create the banner at that exact size so we can see the full resolution. It's little small details. I'm going to open up a couple of these. Some I think that really stand out to me in New Hope. This is so beautifully cinematic, even shot in this vertical format, and not necessarily the standard horizontal 35. That would feel more cinematic. It still has a very cinematic feel to it, and I think it's just, the mood is just phenomenal. And to see some of the trees, the blue tones, the fog, and the lantern, just that little orange coming off the lantern. I always love a cool on warm tones, and it's a really well done shot. So, edition 1 of 1, rich specifications, year shot, piece information, piece license, and also information here. Edition 1 of 1. I would just put the artist name if it's not sold. Stick out with a couple of other ones. You have Arwen, you have one you want me to open up?
I just wanted to comment a couple things first. I agree about the description. The last paragraph probably isn't needed, but if he wants to keep it there, then I would suggest fixing the spelling and grammar errors in it. And I know that English probably isn't his first language, but I mean, I and other people, I'm sure, are always happy to review these descriptions for anyone who wants help with spelling and grammar in them. And then the other thing I wanted to comment is the collection as a whole. There are a couple that I think maybe fit in quite so well, and the tree one, A Lone Survivor, and the one with the yellow jacket, maybe the one with the yellow jacket would be okay, but I just think that these would flow so well, the rest of them together. So those were my main comments. I really like this one where he's with the umbrella in the air. What is
I was
that?
just looking at that.
The Solando. I think that
Yeah.
one's really cool. And Walking Dead. I really like all of them, but I really, really like these ones with the silhouettes, and I think they just really go so well together.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think the only reason the tree doesn't fit is because it's just the only non-human, right? And the yellow jacket one doesn't, because it sort of has a different tone than the rest. It's a little less blue, and then it also, it's a yellow jacket shot, right? To thrive in chaos. I love the shot, I do, but I do agree with you that if these two were taken out of the collection, then it would flow as a more cohesive body. Sometimes just something as simple as that that makes it really cohesive. This one's cool too. Take My Mask, and it looks like he has like lights coming, like flashlight or lights coming out of his eyes or mouth, and it's very ghostly. Really cool. But yeah, I think that's
Yeah, they all kind of have like an eerie, otherworldly feel that is really neat and really makes it a cool collection.
absolutely. So one of them sold. This one here, the Nifty Dreams. It's a beautiful shot. I love the strings from the hoodie flying outwards and the hands flying back with the feet. Just like perfect, like just a perfect jump. Beautiful shot. Looks like they're almost being pulled up by a UFO. It's so surreal. So yeah, I mean, I think the floor price is really fair. Look at the descriptions and stuff. Yeah, they have all the information in there. It was only minted 8 days ago, so very new collection. And so 22 views. Guess some people look at the collection. I think this is like one of those collections that like easily sells out. It's just a very soft market right now, and so I would just focus on talking about the artwork, uh, posting one of these and talking about the process and what that shot means to you, and really just trying to connect with collectors through your art, through your process right now. I think I think the sales on the pieces will just kind of come organically after that, or when the market sort of moves into a less soft territory. But did you have anything else that you wanted to add, Arlen?
Yeah, I just want to mention, and it's not specific to this collection, is that I know when I first started in NFTs, I was hesitant to like be marketing my stuff all the time. And I think especially in this market, it's really important to be like talking about it as much as you can and tweeting about it as much as you can and just saying, hey, this is out there. And, giving the story behind it, like you said, because people just don't see it. And I feel like if they really see it, then they would buy these at this price for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of it has to do with just the amount of eyes that are on it. And yeah, there's just, the engagement's been down a lot on Twitter, but, if you still make a really compelling post talking about your process, and you know, you put one of the images you really enjoy, and I hate having to do this, but throwing like a GM up at the top of the post, it brings in a ton of engagement for me. If I don't put that, I feel like my engagement's cut down by like 60%, because some people just come in and they just want to say GM, and not even talk about the work, and that's fine because they are boosting the algorithm. And so, but yeah, I mean, just I'd talk about these pieces. That's totally what I would do. And I think this is a really great collection, very cohesive. I really like it. With that, I think we can move on to the next one. And
Yep.
yeah, so the next one is called Walk With Me, and it's by Hami. And let's read this. So, Walk With Me is a collection of photos that shows the street life of different cities, from Iranian cities to European cities. It's European cities. So yeah, some grammatical stuff here you fix as well. It says in this collection, I want to show people from different cities that I lived or traveled to. I want you all to see the way I looked at the world, and I want you all to talk to people in the photo through my photos. Every time I will drop 9 photos. I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoy taking them. Okay, interesting. So not really a strong narrative here in the artist statement. Basically, to me, just kind of reads as like these are different photos from different cities. And so, with that being said, I think you can take different photos from different cities and have like a cohesive collection that kind of flows together. But in this collection, I think we're seeing a couple of different genres or just images that don't feel right with the rest. And so, like, we have some, environmental portraits, right? I would consider, this to be an environmental portrait, which is a really strong portrait. I like that. This one here is another environmental portrait. Looks like this man works at in the space where he creates fabrics, rugs and bags and stuff like that. And it's a nice little moment. I mean, of him looking down at the work that he's doing. Might be stronger if he was looking up a bit at you, or whatnot. But it's still a very good environmental portrait. You move on to something like this shot here, twins, which is a strong shot. I love that the girl's looking at you here, and I love her hand laying down over her knee, and I love how she's creating this triangle pattern with legs, and all these other triangles from the bike, from the fence, and it's a daring composition. The other girl's sort of like sitting there looking out. Looks like schoolgirls, got her backpack. Great shot. Just I don't know where that shot fits in with this shot. Just doesn't, almost doesn't feel like the same artist. Definitely doesn't feel like it belongs in the same collection. And so I definitely think about stuff like that when creating a collection. Is like, how many genres can you really throw in there and keep it to feel cohesive? I mean, you have a shot like this, which is like not as raw of street photography as the other one, but like more of like this minimalism sort of geometric street shot, which feels like it would fit in just another completely a different body of work. And so like these two shots I see working together, right? The one with the bike and the girl, these little ones, these kids here, because these are like feels like these candid, these candid street moments. Let's take a look at this. I haven't opened this up fully. American in Paris. Honestly, I think this for me is one of the weaker images of the bunch. Actually, I think it's a little bit busy here. Like, I think it's about this guy with the flag here and the flag coming off here. But I think it's just there's a lot of distractions here between what's this man doing, taking a photo of this guy with his backpack, this man who's kind of cut off by the arm of this man, and then a lot of negative space up top that sort of, also doesn't make too much sense. Like, I think there would have to be a lot less people in the background here, or this would have to just be shot at a super shallow depth of field to kind of make the statement that I think you're trying to make here. That being said, any similar thoughts on the collection, or anything you disagree with, Armin?
Yeah, I have a few things. Firstly, I do agree with what you said. And I also wanted to mention that it says every time I will drop 9 photos, but it doesn't tell me how many total will be in the collection, which I think would be important to have there. And I feel like the title and the description doesn't really go very well with the photos. So, when I first looked at the title and the description, I thought it was really going to show me some things that were unique about the street life in different cities. And I'm not really getting that from looking at the photos. So I feel like maybe with a stronger title and description, then maybe we would feel a little more from the collection.
Some really good points. I was a little confused by that too when I read every time I will drop 9 photos, and I think that means every time the initial 9 sell out, I'll drop a new 9. But we don't really know like what the collection is supposed to end at. Like you said, there's no number that we're looking to meet there. And so yeah, I agree. Yeah, it'd be nice to see a cohesive collection from maybe just a Kermit shop, or maybe just Paris, and maybe just either environmental portraits from those places, or maybe street photos from that places that tell a visual story, right? Because with it's hard for me to get a clear visual story of what we're actually looking at as far as a collection goes. But I do think that the photographer can make some really compelling shots. I think this is one of them. I do believe. I think it's the environmental portraits that they're making, especially the verticals here, that have stood out to me.
I really like felt.
Which one
Sorry.
is felt? It's okay. Which one is felt? Hold on, let me see.
The one with the man in the door, in the windows, in the reflection. I think this is a really great photo, but like you mentioned, I just don't think they flow that well together. This felt is probably my favorite of them.
Yeah, his expression is so good. Expression that he caught here. Just also the composition is really interesting too. Like him inside the door, a little reflection going on in the background. So maybe a bit of a story that we don't know about going back there. I think mostly what's really strong about this is like his gaze. It's really, really good. So the collection was minted 7 months ago, and it was listed at 0.2. And so right now, you can't even buy any of the pieces because it looks like the artist just kind of when the prices expired, they just didn't renew it. So it could look like an abandoned collection, which is not good from a collector standpoint. So I would come in and remodify your collection here. You have 2 owners, so you sold both of the Iron Man photos, Iron Man and Iron Man 2. That's the man with the shirt off here. But I think now that he's sold the photos of the Iron Man, the rest of the story sort of has to fit that, right? So I would go with felt. I'd keep felt in there, right? Because it's another environmental portrait. I'd keep this one, sheep, because it's another environmental portrait. And I would definitely lose the American flag. Also the minimalist shot here. Even the street photo of the girls, even though I think it's a great shot. And is this the same guy as Felt? The one in the shot Felt. I don't think necessarily, and maybe this could stay in fits. But yeah, I would definitely look at that and see how you have to base it off the ones that you sold. You have to go in that direction. Anything else that you wanted to end on here, on Arwen?
Well, I think that's a great idea to base it off of those that he's sold, and maybe he could even add in some more portraits like that. But in that case, I would recommend changing the title and the description to something that fits more with those kind of shots.
Perfect addition to what I said. So yeah, exactly. Like I didn't even think about that. So yeah, if you go off of that, you could add in photographs that work with this style, and then you would also have to change the title and description to make sense too. So it's a really good feedback. Thank you. With that said, I think we can move on to the next collection. I think we have enough help to.
Hey, Mike.
Yep.
Did you see the message in Discord? Sorry, I was AFK for a sec.
No, it's all good. I haven't yet. Please, can I request my collection to be postponed to the last part? I really love to attend. So I can just move that. That collection is the rooftop one. I can just move that to last.
Okay,
yeah, that's
cool.
No problem. Yep. I'm just gonna reply and say, yep, got it. Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's move That one was the rooftops. That's going to go over at the end here. Rooftop full story. Okay, cool. So this next collection is fabric stories, and this is by Maleh Ersan, Maleh Ersan. I think that's how you say it. So a simple fabric used on trips for creating stories and bringing out mood from human form and fabric's behavior and nature. Fabric stories traveled around Turkey for 6 years. The story still takes place when the right elements meet together. So what is the story? You know, there's not enough written here in the artist statement for really to understand what you're trying to tell me what the story is about this. So I'd work on a stronger artist statement. I love the image that you have here is this little main image. Once again, a low resolution photograph for the banner. You see like little details that if we could get the resolution correct in this banner, it could look a lot more beautiful for a first impression for the collector. Now, looking at these, yep, there's a floor price of 0.12. Let's come out of this view. So I don't see the piece that's listed for 0.12. Let's see. But we have a big range of prices here, all the way from 0.12 to 0.5, so half of an ETH. So that's a pretty big gap to me. Let's look at this and now in the 10 owners too, well, 9 owners outside of you. But when I look at it in this mode where we can look at it all together, my gosh, is it beautiful? It's really beautiful. There's a couple that stand out and don't feel like they fit as much. I think it's this one. It hasn't sold. It's just because the background is just not minimal. It's beautiful, but it doesn't have a minimal background like the rest of these. If we look at these, a lot of these have like a much more, draped out cloth. I like the ones where it's, look at this shot, like amazing. Where a lot of the fabric takes up a large portion of the frame. I think of some of the best shots in this collection, and that stands for the confidence. Really confident. It's just like angel wings, really beautiful. So some of the shots, I think here you're really hitting it where it's like, whoa, that's really thought out. Whoa, that's really good. I think this is another one. This is phenomenal. So there's some amazing work in here. I just think there's a little too many pieces. 35 pieces, and there's just as another one that doesn't feel like it fits as much with this shot. Well, maybe it does. A beautiful piece, but when you're looking at it from afar, it's a lot busier than some of the other more minimal pieces. And then there's a shot here. This one really doesn't feel like it fits in the collection at all for me. If this is not sold, this is one that I would definitely not have in the collection. It's interesting, but it's higher priced for I don't know what reason, and it's also it's not fabric in as a dress in the way that the rest of them are, and it just doesn't feel the same as the rest for me. Wow, I thought that these were roads. So, oh my
Me
gosh.
too.
Oh my gosh, so different. That and I really like when like a photograph challenges me like that. So I really love this. So I just think I think there's a weird price gap, and I think there's some shots that like this one is 0.5, and it's like, and I think there's other ones in here that are just better than this one to me. It's the background is so busy. It seems like very punchy and busy and saturated, and I think there's stronger ones in like a lower price range that are just like this sold for 0.1, like 5 times less. And I think it's just absolutely beautiful and just fits in this collection more. Arwen, do you have, what would you like to add about this collection?
You're cutting out a little, and I don't know if it's my connection, but I agree with everything you said. In fact, the ones that you pointed out as not fitting as well were the ones I was going to mention as well, like Dreamer. And I agree that if the collection was culled down a little bit, I think it would be perfect because there's some very strong ones. And if those were all, together, it would be absolutely visually stunning. And I do think the price differences is a little confusing to me. So maybe it could be culled down to a point where all of them could be the same price. And so like yeah, and I definitely think there's some that are stronger than others. Like maybe I would pull out against all. It just doesn't impact me the same way as some of the other ones. I do think it fits in because it has the minimalistic background, but it just doesn't have the same impact to me as a lot of the other ones. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you said, and I don't have a lot more to add. I kind of think like ceremony red and ceremony yellow, maybe it would make sense to just include one of those, if you are trying to cult.
I don't know if you're still talking. I last heard that you should call out one of the ceremony yellow or ceremony red.
We may have lost her.
Connected.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Oh.
So I kind of thing might be a way to select which ones to keep. Maybe, to keep one of some of them that are pretty similar. This one that you have up right now is wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's ones in here that are just wow, and maybe the collection should just consist of wow, and that I think that would really help. And so I think the artist knows which ones are wow, I'm sure. But if not, we pointed out some these ceremony. I think ceremony red might be the better one. The dress just acts as a red carpet, but it's also it doesn't have all those crease marks in it. It's kind of stunningly goes down in this fluid sort of way, and the yellow is it's almost as if it's still beautiful. It just has that imperfection. I'd probably lose the yellow, to be quite honest. But yeah, I think the biggest lesson in this collection is maybe don't drop so many at one time. Like maybe give the audience, so if it's 35, maybe give the audience 5 at a time or 10 at a time. Let it sell out, and then drop the next 5 to 10. But maybe have other eyes on it, so that when you're dropping the next 10, that people could tell you, these are really strong and fit and make sense, and maybe these ones you should leave out. Because myself included, I need second, third, fourth, sometimes fifth eyes on my work, because it's my own work, and so I'm attached to a lot of it, and I need to detach sometimes. And so to have eyes on it, it's really helpful, and also to drop your work in a fashion where you can put out less than more images, have it sell out, because it's easier to sell out, and then add images as it sells out, and come up with a number of images. Maybe it's 40 that you want to meet as a goal. Outside of that, like I said, I think this artist statement could be like written better and include more of a story. And let's take a look at descriptions, and then we can probably move to the next collection. There's no properties here. I mean, this minted 5 months ago. This is a sold piece. There's story here, license, edition, and all of the good information. So I don't have anything else to add on this one. So I think we could move on to the next collection. I would fix this banner and make it more high resolution because your work is really beautiful, and I think it would be good to show that. So moving on, the next collection is Kids and Kites, and this is by a mystic, Saravanan. So let's take a read at this. So the series of images was shot in 2013, looking at 10 years ago, at the Kite Festival of India named Uttarayan. From childhood, I was fascinated by flying kites. Flying kites always kindled that kid inside me. When I went to photo document the complete event, the kid in me got popped up after seeing kids playing with kites and lanterns across the city. There's a historical background for the Kites Festival. This kite flying festival symbolizes raising the gods from their sleep. Throughout history, this festival has been related to kings and their raising powers. And so it has license information, etc., and they are one of ones. So let's take a look. Looking out at them as a whole, there's a lot of images in here that I really like. I think I'm a bit more drawn to the ones that are a little more abstract in nature or have a little mystery. This shot really stands out to me, although I will say you have information down here from a website, which is definitely not good, because someone's going to buy this photograph, and it's just like you just right-click downloaded it from your website, and your name is in here and stuff, and I don't think people want that on their image, so I would be really careful with that. And so like that, another strong image to me, I think, flying smiley one, really, really beautiful. I love the warm on cool tones. I love the child's expression down here looking up at it. A lot of this is very nostalgic, for me as well. Looking at these as thinking back to my childhood, and even being an adult, and having that the child kid-like person in me want to come out around this type of stuff. This is another really strong one, I think, to me as well. This is very fine art, very beautiful. Look at this man standing in the sun, man, woman, I don't know, and the chimney here, and just all these kites rising up, lots of beautiful negative space. I think the ones that aren't as strong for me, at least, are, or maybe less fitting, is like this shot. Although I think it's a really good shot, it doesn't have the same mood to me as some of the rest of these. Have this more golden hour, night sort of mood. This fits for me, but it's like this one here, and this one here. They just don't. They don't fit as much for me, and the color seems really strange here. The quality and the color, it's very blue. The greens are a very strange shade of blue. This has some really a lot of temperature corrections and adjusting from me, at least from my eyesight. This one takes place in the day, but it's fitting to me in the fact that it has that abstract nature, and it's just a fantastic perspective, a fantastic shot. So with that, I'll throw it off to Arwen and how she felt about this collection.
I'm having a little connection problems, so I'm trying to fix it. So I'll probably just skip on this one, and I'll be back shortly.
Oh, no problem. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll continue to talk a little bit about this one. Yeah, so I think I love the idea. I think it's really brilliant. A lot of these really bring a smile to my face. This shot here is just beautiful. Love the color relationships you have going on, and just a really genuine looking moment here with the kid with the arm around his friend pointing up, this kid with his mouth open. They're really enjoying themselves. Take a look at another nice, interesting shot. I don't know if it fits the overall mood of some of the other ones, but take a look into the description area. This is one collection that's minted 6 months ago and has not been relisted. This work you could not buy right now. It looks like another collection. I hate to say like the word abandoned, but if you're not relisting the work, then it sort of looks like you kind of left the collection just to be. So there's information about the collection here. It's 2013. I think this kind of looks like, yep, this is a copy paste from the main artist statement. I would avoid doing that and talk about each image individually to grab the attention of a collector and add a little more to that story. The licensing and all that here is great. Something I don't think a lot of us are really doing anymore is numbering. So like number 1, the squirrel story, number 2, plan with a friend. You know, I'm guilty. I did that in the beginning too, and I think we kind of strayed away from numbering on the images. I think it just looks a lot cleaner when you have just, you know, sun-kissed. It feels like it makes more sense. With that, I don't really have much more on the on this collection. I'd probably pull a couple of them and make them a little more cohesive and bring this collection back to life by talking about it. And
yeah, I can say a little bit now
okay.
too, because I got things worked out. I didn't hear everything you said, but I'll just chime in my 2 cents. I really like the idea for the collection, and the description gives me a lot of information about you know, the kite flying festival and what they're trying to capture. And I do think that there are a couple in it that aren't as strong, like Hope. I don't know if you already mentioned any of this, but for me, Hope is a little hard to see. It's kind of dark and I can see the kite, but that's really it. So that's to me a little bit less strong than some of the others. And then also, I really like this one, Thread Manufacturer, but it does seem like maybe it doesn't go as well with some of the other ones in the collection. And that's basically my overall comment, is that, you know, some of them are a little less cohesive than they could be. Although I do like the way it gives all the different perspectives from this festival and, you know, shows a lot of different ideas from it. And so that's kind of cool.
Absolutely. And so like when you can see things that look cohesive with each other, like if you just looked at these two I'm looking at now, like the Flying Smiley and Sunkissed, they have a very cohesive feel because they have a more of a night light, oranges and blues. Hope has that same sort of feel. You know, Friends in a Need to Fly. When you start adding a bunch of different elements, like different times of day, color temperatures, I mentioned this feels like the color temperature is just really not correct on this shot. That's when it starts to feel like a little less cohesive. This image has a problem with the color temperature as well. I think it's too yellow all around the image, so it feels a little different to me as well. And then you have some of these just outdoor shots, these outdoor posed shots. Well, maybe it's not posed. I don't know. It feels posed, but you know, yeah, like I said, there's shots that you can clearly see fit well together, and then other shots that, you know, feel different within the collection. But like I love like Ready to Fly with a shot like this shot coming first, right? And then next to it, you know, Ready to Fly, like, and the kids looking up at it like that. Like that's like a diptych type thing where those two photos work together, but those photos don't necessarily work very well with, like, you know, this photograph, right? It feels like it's from a different collection. So agree with all that. Cool. And I think we can move on to that next collection. With that said, I think the prices well, the prices aren't listed, so we really can't talk about that. They have to bring this collection back to life. So on to the next one is this is Ice Age by Gulen. You get her? There's I went to look for an artist statement. There's no artist statement, so that's something. So artist statement, no artist statement, right? Banner. The banner is very very pixelated. It's super low resolution, and I don't blame all you guys because like OpenSea is really annoying with this, and this is why we keep seeing the same issue over and over again with people's banners being, because you can't take your full resolution image and just drop it in there. You have to look and see what OpenSea wants for the dimensions, and you have to crop it exactly to that to have it as a full resolution. So first things first, when I come to a collection, if I'm noticing things that just aren't there or aren't working, it's sort of like a turn off for me. So the banner, there's no description. The floor price also seems pretty high for OpenSea. And I don't think that's just a floor price. So yeah, throughout, all the photographs are half of an ETH. That's your prerogative, and that's fine. But it feels a little bit high for me, especially when you don't have an artist statement or anything like that. And with that said, like let's go into the descriptions and stuff and see if we have descriptions and whatnot. So Ice Age 1. No description of the photograph, just an artist name and a license. And I think with charging like half of an ETH, like at least the description is nice. I do think it's a beautiful shot. The bird's eye view perspective. It looks like the man or woman maybe carved like a baby elephant into the ice here. Looks like they're pulling their boat through these sort of dangerous these dangerous outlets that move through this ice, where they have a small amount of room to navigate this. So this stuff is really wild and dangerous looking, which is interesting to me. This might be one of my favorite ones in the collection. I definitely enjoy all of the shattered ice that's kind of broken away from the original ice. This big piece here shatters off into these other pieces, and then they break off into these little pieces, and then you just have these two boats on top of each other making their way through. There's a real story here, and there's like nature created its own art here through the breaking of the ice. So I think that's really well done. There's a few images in here that start to feel really repetitive though, right? Like Ice Age 2, I just talked about that. And then you have Ice Age 4, which is not the same shot, obviously, but we're sort of telling the same story here over and over, right? Like moving through the channel, it's difficult to get it. And maybe to tell the greater story here is also taking photos on ground. I don't know where you're taking the photos from. It looks like a drone, but so the thing for me is, if you're going to take shots with a drone, then I feel like maybe do a few of them at different heights, get lower in some areas. Like a lot of these are really high up, and so this shows a lot of cool stuff in the ice. These little circles, these breaks in the ice, and moving through a channel, but I feel like there's a lot of repetition in here for me, and it's like, as a collector coming in and looking at these, I would be like, I have to look at this one, this one, this one. Like a lot of these, I have to open them up and like really examine what's different about them. And I feel like I should be able to more easily differentiate that from just the thumbnail. So I think there's a lot of similar looking shots in here that have been repeated, so and feel quite repetitive to me. And so I want to feel more of a story here. It would be cool to have some images where it wasn't bird's eye view and you're on the ground. making some documentary work from different perspectives, and then have some of the bird's eye view shots as well. I don't know how you feel about any of what I've said, Arlen. Have I been coming through clear?
Yes. I actually have a different opinion on this one. I
That's
think
good.
having them all, I think having them all as drone is perfect. I would say that I would love to have more descriptions because it's hard for me to connect with it without those. But I have noticed that with a lot of drone collections, where they're kind of abstract like these, they do pretty well when they're all kind of similar because it is kind of an abstract patterns and things that the collection is conveying. And I don't know if maybe that is because it makes the people look more closely at each one, and so they spend more time on it, trying to decide which one they like best. But I have noticed that with these kind of collections, having them more similar often does better than having them different. So I personally wouldn't put any from the ground in it. In fact, I might try and make them even a little more similar if it were me. Like, I love Ice Age 4, and it's my favorite one. And I also like 7 and 2, and they're all, I think, kind of from a similar height, and you can see the ice in the same way. Whereas it looks like maybe Ice Age 6 and 9 are from higher. And like Ice Age 10 for me is not as strong a photo. I'm sorry, I'm just saying the names of them since I'm not driving. So Ice Age 10, I mean, I really think that black corner in the top right detracts from the photo. It's kind of jarring, and overall, it doesn't have a consistent pattern. So I think the ones that I think are really strong, like 4, have these really nice patterns in it. And I've seen drone photography like this with these patterns do really well.
Nice. I like your yeah, I like that. I like when people disagree with some of what I've said, because it makes me think as well. And so while this was shot with a drone, this one, it feels like it has like a different perspective though. It's like a lower, not necessarily bird's eye view. So yeah, maybe from the ground is not exactly it, but maybe some of the ones where we do get a little lower and we can see even like more of a story like this. There's something about this image that's really intriguing to me as well, where you have this man here with the boat. He looks like he's pulling it up out of the water. I love this guy here with the shadow, and then there's more guys, guys or girls. I don't know what it is. They're coming through here on these other boats, this channel. But yeah. And as far as the titles, because so my biggest issue with this collection is no artist statement, no descriptions of any images, and also the titles. So artist statement, titles, description, to me have all been neglected here. So every shot is called Ice Age with a number. And no shots have that description, and there is no artist statement here. And there's no pieces sold. So if we look at when is this, when were these minted? I mean, all this could be changed, right? You could change all of that information. You can put all that information, and you can add properties even now. This is only minted 2 months ago, and listed with a price 2 months ago of 0.5 half of an ETH. So I would go and add in all of that information. You have anything else, Aaron?
I would definitely put titles on them. I mean, even though they are all kind of similar, so maybe you could do it with numbering. I find that like having a title of what you see in it or how it makes you feel is really compelling. So I would, if I were the artist, I would just look through these and try and come up with a title that really encapsulates each one, and that would really make it a lot stronger.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Cool. So we gave some really good advice on this. And I think we go on to the next collection, which is, we just did Ice Age, Love Story of Sun and Flora. And that is by MPZ Shutter. And then we have two left after this one. So description first. As winter ends and then followed by the spring, where the flora starts, so you can see what you're going to want to put where instead of where, little tiny thing here, where the flora starts to grow again with the newborn spirit within, reflecting with its gloomy beauty, whispering its divine beauty when a setting sun splashes its grateful dust with coral orange over the horizon, portraying the mysterious love story of sun and the is that leafages or leafages, florals, leaving behind the subtle view, which I have tried to frame these moments with my perspective. The type is silhouette photography, and they're shot on phone. Let's check them out. So there are 4 shots in the collection. It looks like this one last sold to 0.15. Looks like maybe this one is sold too. Let's see. Last sold to 0.15, and Saucebook's trying to resell it now for 1 ETH. Get an idea. I love how the images change here. Your banner's looking pretty good. This flower could maybe come down a bit. Overall, I think I really like the way it looks. The description is pretty good. A couple of little grammatical things you could fix there. Let's look at the work, and the pricing is very fair, especially fair for a foundation. So let's see. So the fusion. Yes, there's something really beautiful about these. That's like, it's not macro. I think it's minimalism, but it also feels like the sun is an extension of these flowers. Or a flower, like these are flowers that haven't budded yet, but the sun makes it look like that one flower that has budded. And I love the colors, how they and the depth of field. So that how these just melt from like dark ocean blues to lighter blues to like light greens to oranges and yellow. It's really beautiful the way this is done. Take a look at some more of these. Yeah, another one that's, feels like it has that sort of illumination that's coming out of the flower, like creating new life or something. I love all the little details and hairs and fur that come off of this. And like I said, your gradient that goes from deeper color up into these lighter colors is quite beautiful. What do you think of these Arwen? Do you like them? Is there one in particular to talk about?
Yeah, I agree with what you've said. I think it's a really cohesive and really nice collection. I do think that, it would be good to fix the grammatical errors and spelling errors in the description because it made it a little hard to understand. I like the silhouettes. I think they're really neat. I love the blooming kiss, the one you were just looking at, with the way the backlight is, just illuminating the flower is fantastic. I'm actually surprised that one hasn't sold. That would be the one that I would have picked up first. So yeah, I think it's really nice. I wouldn't mind seeing a few more in this collection, actually, because I think there's a lot that you can do with this kind of thing. But 4 is good also. And yeah, I don't have a lot more than that.
No, I don't either. I think they're really beautiful and they have a unique feel to them. And when I see these, I can tell that they're from this photographer because they, you know, the flowers always pointing to the sun. They always have some piece that's kind of touching or pointing, and the color tones. It's really, really beautiful. And so, like you said, I'd love to see even more. You know, I'd like to see more with this color tone too, with this more bluish and pinkish color tone um, in here as well. Like this, yeah, I think you could fill this up with just more of them. Something you're really good at doing, and I really enjoy it. This collection. So yeah, very good job. Let's move on to the next collection, which is The Art of Light and Shades, and this is by Adan Rahajan. That's how you say it. Okay, The Art of Light and Shades. Now, once again, guys, over and over again, these pixelated banners. Rather than have a pixelated banner, I'd rather have no banner in it and just have this piece here. A silhouette is a solid, dark image of a subject against a brighter background. Silhouette pictures usually show the subject in profile. Silhouette photography shows the dark outlines of the subjects in front of contrasting bright scenes, such as sunsets with studio backdrops. All images in this collection are captured with natural light during sunrise and sunset. Silhouette is one of my favorite methods of photography. It took almost 2 years to capture 100+ silhouette images of different birds. I used to go out in the evening only to capture my dream frames. Most of the days I returned home with no images. Tell me about it. Nature is like that. We can't expect beautiful frames all the time. We need more patience to wait for the perfect moment. Some days we won't get anything, but maybe next day will be ours. So the second part of the artist statement I actually love a lot more than the first part. The first part sort of feels like I was giving like a little history lesson on what a silhouette is. And this feels like it comes more from the soul. And so I really enjoyed this part of the artist statement. Then it says the artist name, 1 of 1, maximum collection size is 10. It shows 10. There is one owner outside of the original with a floor price of 0.16. And let's see if the prices differentiate. Nope, they're all 0.16. I always love seeing that. It shows me that that artist sort of values all the images that he put into the collection at the same level. There's something about putting images in that an artist doesn't value as much within a collection that, I don't know, doesn't necessarily sit the best with me, because it's like, well, if it isn't as good and it isn't worth as much, then maybe you haven't shot the shop that's supposed to replace that one yet. I don't know. That's just how I feel. It's nice to see all across the board 0.16. I think it's fair for 1 of 1s. And so, looking at these, obviously we're looking at all of the silhouette images. Right off the bat, I think the strongest one to me lies right here within the crow. And the reason for that, for me, is it's a beautiful composition. And the colors is absolutely gorgeous. This deep orangish red with that yellow orange moon, and the stance of the bird. This is a perfect shot to me, and it has a lot of atmosphere included. Now, with that being said, some of the weaker ones to me don't have all of that atmosphere. So, like this shot here, where there's not much of a story for me to create with this. It's just like some bokeh in the background with the bird, and it's standing on something that's kind of too dark for me to really know. So I don't necessarily gravitate towards that. I think when looking at an image like the first shot and seeing your potential, I feel that it's some of these are too easy for you. So another one where I think your potential is strong is one like this, where you have brilliant composition, and you have a lot of little branches here, and sort of creates this beautiful minimalistic silhouette that's really, really gorgeous and fine art to me. And then I think I'm just going to keep doing this, going between the ones that I think are really strong back to the ones that I just don't think quite do it for me as much. This shot here, while, it's not coming up yet. While the background is brilliant to me, it almost looks like a galaxy of stars. The bird just doesn't sit with the same elegance as the other ones, and it also looks like the bird becomes part of this pole, and then the reflected shadow is just kind of a globby mess of a shadow, of a reflection for me, and it just doesn't hold the same weight as some of the other photographs here. Another good shot here, I think, where you caught a moment that's really beautiful. Look at this, like this is a story. The swan is looking up at this bird. There's just water flying everywhere. There's these gorgeous bouquet balls in the background. There's this gorgeous glimmering sunlight around it. And even though this is just the same stick as the other one, the wings coming out really just, complement to that figure, right? And so, with that being said, I'll pass it off to Arwen on how she feels about some of these.
Right. I'll start with the description. I agree that the second, like the whole time you were reading the first paragraph, I was like, well, how does he feel about it? Or he or she? Why is this person, doing silhouettes? So I would actually reverse the order of the paragraphs and put the second one first and the first one second, because I think having the second paragraph first will really draw the reader in a lot more, and then you can give a little background about what a silhouette is. So that would make a little more sense to me in the description. And as far as the photographs, my favorite one's the Drongo. I think that is just absolutely stunning. It draws your eye right to the subject of the photo, which is the bird. And the bird is so crisp and clear against the background. I love that one. The crow, I agree with you about the atmosphere, but I would actually crop it in a little more because I feel like there's so much extra space on the sides and I can't really see the bird. And while I agree with you that the couple is a great photograph, I think maybe it doesn't go quite as well with the collection, because the rest of the collection, is a single silhouette of a bird, and that one's more like an action shot. It just seems to me to kind of stick out as something different from the rest of the collection. And then go ahead.
I was going to say, no, those are really good points. Yeah, that is that only real action shot with two of the birds. And yeah, I think you could probably get rid of some of that negative space on that crow shot. Maybe that negative space is done here in this shot. Let's catch the sun. It's like maybe something more like this is what you're looking for. Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah, I mean, I like the darkness on the sides because it really sets off the sun and it draws your eye to the bird the same way as the Drongo, but I think maybe there's just a little too much of that extra space on the crow. And then the other one that I think is not quite as strong, I actually really agree with you about the little cormorant, that the background is stunning, but it's just like you can't make out the bird very well or something. I don't know what it is about it, but I agree with you on that one. And
how
then
does
the
this
other
look?
one that
How does this crop look to you now?
I like that.
That's nice, right?
Yeah, just
Maybe
a little bit off of the sides. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little bit off the sides, and it really, really brings it out. It's super surreal. What was the other one you're going to mention now?
So the other one I was going to mention that I think is not as strong is the black-winged stilt. So for me, I feel like the head of the bird isn't as crisp with the depth of field, and also there's some distractions going on in it.
Mhm.
So to me, that's probably actually the weakest one out of the whole bunch, if I'm going to look at the photos specifically. But I like it. I think it's a nice collection. I really like these two, the Siberian Stone Chat and the Greater Egret. I think this, whatever it is in the background, this light is really cool looking. And I really like the way it sets off the silhouettes of the birds. So I really like those two. And then the other one I think maybe is not as strong is Let's Catch the Sun. And that's for the same reason, is that I think there's a lot of distractions taking away from the bird. Maybe if the bird was more in the sun and so the eye was drawn more to the bird, but I feel like my eye is really being drawn to the sun instead of the silhouette of the bird, which I think is what, you know, he's trying to accomplish, this is about the birds.
Yeah. I mean, I just cropped it. I think it focuses it a little bit better than the crop maybe that I made, but I see what you mean. If it was in the sun, it'd be even greater. And I think that the shot that you pointed out that you said was the weakest, I think is the weakest as well. I think the shot, first of all, it's tilted too, it feels a little tilted. It's like to the left, but also I think a lower perspective could have even been better. Like it feels like it was shot, like the bird's almost shot down on a little bit down on, and whereas like if it would have brought the lens like right onto the pond or whatever this is and shot up, I think this is distracting too, though, this flower that's coming out here. And I think that's part of the problem with this shot, is that there's just, it's not a crisp and a mint silhouette, like sort of like the one you're like, sort of like this one here, right? Where we can really, we can really see what we're looking at. I do think this one's great too.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that the focus of this collection is like, the birds, and then the sun is kind of there to draw the attention to the birds. So I really love the ones that, just really got that on the dot, like perfectly. And there's quite a few of them. And those really stand out to me.
Yeah, that Drongo one, right? It's so good. Like you could literally see like the little feathers coming off and everything, and his stance is so like, I don't know if elegant is the right word, but it's just the way the bird stands. It's has a confidence and graceful, I think is the word I meant to say. It's graceful. Cool. So we have one last collection, the one that we put to the end, so that they had to come back. And so this is Rooftop. It's called Rooftop: The Full Story, and this is by Ali Dante, right? And so this is an ode to my first ever edition. So when I read that, I thought immediately that you should probably change that to urge my post. Oh no, I'm wrong. It must be an ode to an edition that they created outside of this. I thought they were saying this is their first collection, because these are one of ones. My bad. This is an ode to my first ever edition. It tells a story of pushing beyond boundaries and limitations while aiming for the rooftop. It was also inspired by the fact that the shoot was done without any professional photography equipment, just a group of friends looking to create amazing art. All of this was shot on and edited on mobile phone. So, inspired by the fact that the shoot was done without professional photography equipment, I don't really get that, to be quite honest. Like, I don't know why, why that inspires anything or why it really matters that much. I feel like a lot of people that shoot on mobile or a phone sort of have to kind of make it a thing that they've shot the work on mobile or phone. But I just think that it's just another tool that we have now in this world where we're creating images. So I'd rather hear more about what's the full story? Like it says Rooftop, the full story. So like I don't actually know what the full story is, not just because of the description, but also because these shots just seem like a fashion shoot that were shot all on the same day. And you really didn't change the perspective at all. Almost every shot is just about telling the same story. So I have a hard time with the idea of what the full story means. And I think that's where this collection needs the most feedback is in, one, a description about what you're really trying to talk about and tell here. And two, look at the last two shots here, right? They're just, you got to look at this from a collector standpoint too, like which one would I collect? And if I collect one over the other, would I feel like I really had like this unique one of one? Because it just doesn't seem much different. I mean, the only thing that I can tell that's much different is really that the man is looking off to the right, and on this one, he's looking straight at the camera. And so to me, this feels less like a collection and more like a fashion shoot. And so I will go through the images. I think this is probably one of the stronger shots to me. I love his poise and his, the way he's standing with confidence and his look out. I think the styling done in these shots is really well done. And I think that you have a good eye to, make a compelling photograph. Let's look at a few more here. This shot here, interesting. I think we're losing a little bit too much in the darkness here, though. Like, I do love that there's mystery here, but I think that your blacks in some areas are a little bit too black. Like, his hat melds into the hair, to the female's hair, to the point where we don't even really know the separation of that. And maybe that's interesting. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm just looking at it from a technical standpoint. The first shot, I think, is, so far to me is the strongest. This is strong too. There's something really interesting about this as well. It's like they feel almost like superheroes together in some of these scenes, or like that they work well. I don't know why I keep seeing a briefcase in his hand and there's no briefcase. It's interesting because I guess there's this shadow here, and his hand looks like he's holding a briefcase, which lended me to some story. But yeah, it was an interesting shot. My biggest feedback, I think, is for this collection is take more photos, get out again. This to me, when I look at this, is clearly just a one-day photo shoot. And to really have a strong, hard-hitting collection, I think sometimes just takes going back and back and back over and over and over again and shooting over and over again. I mean, I have collections that I've shot for 10 years and I'm still working on. And so, I think if you did more shoots like this, you would be able to develop some visual literacy as to who you are as an artist and what you're shooting. I see a fashion photographer here. And I think that, using the same subjects with different wardrobe and different location, or using different subjects with different wardrobe and different location, and taking some of the shots with single portrait and some of them with double portrait rather than being all double portrait, I think you could start to learn a lot of new things about the style that you begin to develop as an artist. With that being said, I'll pass it off to Armin.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this, and I agree with what you said. And the description I do find very confusing. I don't really understand what their ever first edition was. So I would definitely fix that, and maybe that would help to convey more of the story. I do love their outfits and their expressions, and just it's so much drama in it, which is really alluring. But I do agree that they are all very similar. And I do also agree that number 2 is probably the least strong one. As soon as I looked at that, that stood out to me. I think maybe if the artist were to name each one with unique names that conveyed more of the story, that might help to strengthen the collection. But I do agree that, like, if they were able to shoot these same people in some different shoots, that would be really neat. I mean, the people are really fascinating and alluring, and the way they're shot is, you know, really draws me to them, but there's just not enough there to tell me what's going on.
Yeah, just different perspectives, right? They're all sort of shot head on. And, you know, I think you could use the same model to do this. I think just you need to change perspective. I think you need to change like location a bit. It's all like, it's all on the rooftop, right? And that's what it's about, is that this is a rooftop shoot. But, you know, if you want a rooftop collection, then maybe it has to be different models on different rooftops, or the same models on different rooftops. For me, this is a rooftop shoot, and so yeah, I think you're onto something as a fashion photographer that's bringing mood and environment into the work. And I think that I just want to see what you create outside of just this day. I want to see what you come to the table with and create. You know, I'd love to see color too, and be able to analyze how you put colors together within the wardrobe. And yeah, it's really all I have. Really, all I have. I just want to see more work, more experimenting. With that, if you didn't have anything else to add, Arvin, I mean, some of the artists are here if they have any questions, you know, because this is the last collection, and I guess it's looking like we're about to wrap up here shortly. That we'd be open to answering any questions from anyone here, which would be nice.
Sure, I don't have anything else about that one, so questions sounds good.
Yeah, Gulen's asking if Dante wants to speak a bit. We can unmute and talk about the work and where they can go from here with that work, and you know, if the feedback helped at all, because we do think that you're a great photographer. Cool, awesome. How are you? Is it Dante? Am I saying it right?
Yes, my name is Waleed Anthony. Can you guys hear me?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Adan. Thank you guys. I really appreciated the feedback. But I think there are some things I need to put across. The edition I was talking about was like I think me and you talked about it. It was my first edition I put out. I don't know if you can remember. The name of the edition was Rooftop.
Let me see if I can go and check out. Was it put out on OpenSea edition?
Yeah, that is like my edition.
This shot, I like this shot a lot. I've seen this one, and it's cool. It's really cool. I love the attitude. Very well done. So, you know, this one looks like it's from that day also, right? So you made an addition. It looks like you probably took the piece that you thought was the best piece within that, and created it into an addition. And it says this collection of additions, each unique photo. All right, let's see. It's one of the first planned shoots I had ever done. It was taken at a time when I didn't know much about composition and photography in general. Really amazing that I could take such a photo at that time. Every time I look at this reminds me of my humble beginnings. So kind of getting back to exactly what I said. So, you know, we're looking at this and you're talking about this being, you know, one of your first shoots and stuff, right? And so I think that leads right back to the feedback that I sort of gave, where it's like, I want to see more work from you, right? So if you shot this in your beginnings, I mean, it really means that, you know, you have potential with people. And so I'd love to see, you know, more fashion work by you. Do you consider this work fashion? Because I do.
Well, like personally from my own point, I think like in my journey as a photographer, I think when I started, I was just like experimenting with different genres. Like I was not shooting anything. So if you check out my OpenSea, you see there's another collection that is like summer street and creative photography. So, but now I think I'm trying to focus more on fashion photography and conceptual photography. I'm working on like some two projects now. So like maybe next in this month or next I might come up with something. But like when I'm really trying to find my footing now because I don't even know where to like invest my time and energy to. But like now mostly I'm trying to focus on fashion, but it wasn't much of what I did when I like the kind of photography I shot like in
Yeah,
in much later. Like I can hear you.
yeah. You have
Please go
some.
on, man.
You have some beautiful shots in this little collection here. It seems like it's about solitude. You have some nice light coming in, and these individuals by themselves, and they could create a lot of feeling here, right? But it seems though, are you more like, do you enjoy more going out and capturing these photographs, like the ones I just showed, or do you enjoy more when you have a set up photo shoot with your friends and they or your friends and you can dress them up in wardrobe and stuff? Are you into like style and fashion? Do you like that stuff, or do you like shooting these slices of time from reality better? What is it that makes you want to go shoot? That's what I would think about. Like where do you want to find your voice? Is it in fashion and showing a story through fashion, or is it in capturing these little moments between moments during daily life?
Well, personally, my experience was that I really love street photography. To be like very honest, especially like silhouettes and like silhouettes in particular. But I struggle with going out because like I have like anxiety when I try to shoot photos, and I think I nearly got beaten up one time like that. And regardless of that, like where I live, people are like very conservative about like photos. So like it has been a while since I like went out. But every time I go out, I like see a nice shot. Even today this morning, like I saw like five good shots I would have taken that were kind of like fit my style and like composition and color at the moment. But I was not out with my phone to begin with, and even if, like I've been having like a creative block for a while now. So now, I thought the best option for me was to go back to fashion and conceptual photography. So now I have like ideas I'm working on. So I'm like trying to get models that fit the ideas. I've already gotten locations actually. So I want to focus more on fashion since like I also have like other shoots that I feel like I did a good job with. So like I feel like I need to pursue photography more and explore. I should not like limit myself at the beginning that in the long run I will find my style. That's what I feel.
I agree. I think you should get out and explore more, with photography. And it sounds like, you said you have sort of anxiety with shooting street stuff. I think all of us kind of at least start off with anxiety. A lot of your shots are from behind. There's some days when I go out when I have more anxiety than others where I shoot a lot from behind too, but you could still create a really strong moment from behind or even from far away like you did in this. It's a small man in a big world, which is a beautiful shot. So I wouldn't give up on shooting these moments of solitude that you're shooting, because I do think that you're onto something. But I do think you should focus on the path your path of fashion also, because if you don't have anxiety with when you have friends with you, then you could probably bring out some really beautiful photographs of them, since you can connect with them in a way where you don't have to feel that struggle of having any anxiety and just connecting with them. So yeah, you can conceptually think up in your head, what type of fashion shoot do I want to do that's not just about the clothing, but that's like about the story. And I think and then I think when you have a story, that's where you can come up with the idea of what the wardrobe is going to be about and where the location is going to be about. And I think that that's what separates good fashion from photography from like extraordinary fashion photography. And you should check out um, Guy Borden. I think that's how you say it. I know Emma's in here. She wasn't here, and she has a bunch of pieces collected by Guy. It's got Guy
Bordin. He's a fashion photographer. He's brilliant, and I think you could get some really good inspiration from that. Also, I would check out Irving Penn, Irving. Last name Penn, Penn. He's done some really iconic portraiture work. So, but yeah, thanks for coming up and talking and sharing your work with us today. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you guys for the feedback. I would try to I don't know if I can talk to you beyond this about photography and stuff on Twitter because I think we are mutuals on Twitter. I don't know if that's okay.
Cool, man. Well, I hope to see you on Twitter, and I hope to see some new work from you and you talking about the work. And I would love to retweet and follow your journey. Thank you again.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'm going to send you a DM because, and also thank you, Alvin. Thank you for taking your time for giving me feedback. It really helps a long way. I'm happy I could make it.
Yeah.
For sure. Thanks for submitting your photography. You know, I love the moments of solitude that we were looking at, especially the one with the windows. I'm not able to pull it up on my computer right now, but
I'll pull it up.
That shot is stunning. That one.
This one.
No, not that one.
Okay.
Not that one.
Windows, this one?
This one, yes. Love that. That is so cool. Wow. Yeah, so I agree with Mike. I would love to see more from you and you know, a little more variation in the collection that you have submitted. But thanks so much for submitting it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, with that, if there's no other further questions from anyone, then I think we could probably.
I have one last question. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, I feel the reason why when I came to the NFT space, my intention was to put out that alone in black and white because at that moment, I was more street and white and black photography. But it was there for a long time, and the whole thing becoming frustrating because every time I look at that collection, I feel that represents me as an artist more than my portrait work, regardless of where I am now. But so I think, and even the the rooftop, the full story. I made that actually because of my edition. I felt since the edition had success like that, I could if I bring out something like that, then maybe it could get the same success. But ever since then, it has none of it has moved anywhere. Seriously, I don't know if you guys have any advice for me as regards marketing and stuff because I'm actually at a very bad. And by the way, I'm actually at a very bad. I mean, any advice on stuff.
Have you considered maybe taking one of these and doing it as another edition to go along with the edition that you already did? Because I think those would make a really strong pair. The edition that you already put out and then the strongest one from here as an edition, maybe in the same collection with the other edition.
Well, I actually thought of that, but the problem I have with editions is that it's editions are pieces, so it takes very strong commitment to pushing it. If one leaves, then that one is gone. You understand? I hope you understand but I'm actually consider that actually. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you get that, Arwen?
I think, Mike, you were going to say something. I did. That I got part of it.
Yeah, I mean, my only advice is just, be patient. Don't mint everything. Only mint less than more. Okay, and mint the work that you find to be the strongest work that you have,
and have some friends that are very honest with you, that are going to tell you what they think is the strongest work too. So I think, you know, setting yourself up in your photo career is very important, and only putting out, you know, work that is of your strongest work. And so you know, because I see a lot of people out there right now, they're just minting and minting and minting, and we don't need to mint everything. And it's you know, it's a hard time right now because it's a very soft market, and it's very slow, and it's a bear market, and people are, you know, they're minting a lot of stuff on Tezos, and you know, and it's probably best to just be patient, stay calm, stay creative, stay creating work. And when you mint with intention, and make sure that when you mint work that you're very, very proud of. And that's my best advice right now. That's all.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you, thank you. I was actually considering like burning some pieces, or even actually that rooftop collection, but like I was thinking of like trimming down my alone white and black collection, like burning like some pieces I felt like they were weak. Then if I burn those out, then maybe maybe like burn parts of that alone white and black, like leave like 6 or 5 pieces in there, and maybe like burn the other collection. That was what I was thinking. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think, you know, from Rooftop Story alone, you could burn at least 3 or 4 pieces, you know, because a lot of them are very similar. And then from your other collection, this way, from this other collection, you know, like the strong ones for me are like, you know, this one, which was pointed out by Arwen, you know, the man on the bridge far away, like keep that theme going. You know, this one too, you know, that one fits. And you know, but like this one, you know, this one doesn't really make sense to me, right, in this collection. So like I'd probably burn something like that. And let's see, Cataclysm. Yeah, you know, not the strongest, because the image quality here is like really degraded from, you know, because you are shooting with a mobile device, you're shooting with a phone, so sometimes if it's getting degraded, like this doesn't hold up to the same quality as like you know, as something like the quality of these two, like where it really held up. So yeah, I would burn some stuff. Why not, man? Less is more. Just hit us with the best stuff, right?
Yeah, I'll consider that like when it gets when the listing expires. So I'll just like delete some of them.
Awesome. Cool. So I don't know if anyone else has any closing thoughts. If not, you know, I think this is probably a good time to start to wrap up the space. Arwen, thank you so much for being here today, and provided a lot of great feedback and stuff that I didn't think of, and so that's always perfect to have someone like that. So thanks again for putting time outside of your day to come help.
Yeah, we want to thank you, Mike and Arwen, for taking the time out. Really appreciate it.
Cool. I'll be collecting my PO app.
Same here.
Sure. I always really enjoy doing these. So anytime you all need someone to help out, feel free to ask me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to hit you up more often. I'll hit you up more often then, because I like having you. So perfect. So I'll end this, and then guys, in 3, 2, and 1.
Bye, everyone.